Welcome to West Virginia. Loot till your heart's content, as long as it weighs under 400 pounds. Hello, this is Josh from 1047, and today we're going to talk about managing your stash of 400 pounds in Fallout 76. If you've even played a few hours of the beta, you know what I'm talking about. This is a big issue with the game. P. Hines addressed it. He's one of the big dudes at Bethesda. So they're addressing it, but don't expect a fix for it for a couple weeks at least. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about your stash. You'll recognize it in the world. It's called a My Stash, and it has a weight limit of 400 pounds. That means you can put 400 pounds worth of stuff into it. You can find it in your base. It's usually in most train stations and in other locations like the Overseer's Camp and at the, there's a few of them at the Mega Red Rocket Stop. It fills up fast, but here's what you can do to make it manageable until a fix comes in. Number one, scrap, and scrap. A large portion of this game is just collecting junk, and that junk weighs a lot. So if you just dump it into your stash without breaking it down, it's gonna fill up super fast. So what you do is you go to one of your handy crafting stations and you just break it down. A typewriter weighs a lot. A bunch of screws and springs, not as much. Break every piece of junk down. That's the best place to start. Also, scrap every gun you're not going to use. Not only does that save on weight and get you some materials, it's also the best way to collect mod recipes for those weapons. Same thing with armor. Number two, or B, or whatever, build a base. It eats up a lot of scrap. Get all of the benches you need. Get your basics, your bed, some pictures, some turrets, a nice, 4 walls and a roof, and call it a home. That'll eat up, a good deal of steel and wood and other stuff. Make a house a home. Next, or number three, vendor stuff. Sell those excess meds, cams, explosives, guns. Sometimes you want to scrap a gun, sometimes you want to sell it because it might be worth something, but you don't want to keep it. Sell it. You can also craft excess scrap into bundles. It seems to be not highly recommended to do it. I'm not sure why, I've never tried it, but it's definitely something you can do. But I'm mainly targeting meds and explosives. If you're planning not to use explosives, sell those grenades. For meds and chems, I specifically target a lot of the drugs. I don't use drugs, kids. And if you're not going to use them in game, sell them. A lot of people use Psycho and stuff. Hold on to that if you think you need it. But otherwise, you don't need 30 Radaways. You don't need 30 Rad-X's. Get that down to a nice, comfortable 5 to 10. Same with stim packs. If you somehow have a massive amount of stim packs, sell a few. Same thing with the diluted meds. I get rid of those too. Sell everything. You got to be a little ruthless, but that's what it's going to take to keep your stash at around 400 pounds. Ammo. You can't sell ammo. That's unfortunate, but you need to check the weight. If you somehow have 80 missiles, well, you have 160 pounds worth of missiles. Missiles are 2 pounds each. Keep an eye on that. If you're not using them, get rid of them. You can't sell them, get rid of them. You can't sell ammo, get rid of it. Give it to a friend. Give it to some newbies. They'll love it. Hopefully they don't shoot you with it. Ammo doesn't weigh a ton, but once you start getting into 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 rounds, it's probably taking up more than you need. You can always make more ammo as you need it. Not hard. Also, notes and recipes, if you've for some reason put them in your stash, take them out and use them. They actually weigh a lot. I can't remember, they're like a half pound or a pound. They take up, they're quite hefty. Just use them and learn them, and that gets rid of them. If you got extra ones, just get rid of them. A note about power armor. The power armor chassis weighs 10 pounds. Even with full armor on it, it will always just weigh 10 pounds. So if you've got power armor, put it on the chassis and then put it in your stash. Or better yet, just carry it on yourself because it only weighs 10 pounds. If you have all the armor pieces loose and a chassis, you got way too much weight. So you might want to deal with that. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, is keep an eye on your levels of steel and wood. These are the resources you'll build up the fastest, especially steel. At one point, I realized I had almost 2,000 steel scraps in my inventory. That takes up a lot of space. So what you can do is, I think you can bundle it and sell it. I never tried that. What I just did was I took about all but 200 of my steel and I just dropped it on the floor because it's so easy to get. You'll be swimming in steel no matter what. Same with wood. Wood's a little less common from junk scrapping, but you can find it in trees anywhere. It's not hard to get wood. Throw on that lumberjack card if you got it and go gather wood. So keep your wood and steel from 100 to 200. That's enough to do pretty much all you need to do with it, and that will save you 20, 30, 40 pounds. And finally, and probably the most important thing to keep in mind in these dire times of the 400 pound stash limit, is it is a constant balance. You constantly have to be pulling stuff out, making hard decisions, saying I don't need this or whatever. Make a mule character if you got friends. Do what you can, but there are things you can do. It's not the end of the world. And if I can do it, me, the king of hoarders, where I grab every can and bottle and coffee mug I see. If I can do it, you can do it. You just gotta be diligent and make those decisions, and I hope they patch in some sort of fix to the stash issue soon. Anyways, this has been Josh from 1047. I hope you found this video useful. We're planning on doing a lot of content in Fallout 76 in the near future. We've been looking forward to this game for a long time. We've been in the beta and we enjoyed it, and we really just hope to add something to the community. See you out there November 14th.